What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be doing a little team building guide for the physical Gogeta EZA that is coming up here, right when part 3 of the global 7th anniversary starts up. So yeah, we're going to be taking a look at some of the best units here to use for this EZA. So the category weakness is going to be Fuse Fighters. And obviously, because it is an LR EZA, the legendary power link is going to provide additional damage. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Fuse Fighter category here. Unfortunately, there is only the one leader for this category. There are a few other leaders that are in here that you could potentially build categories for, but obviously, if you have the LR Super Saiyan 4s, they are definitely going to be the way to go. So for the time being, we are going to focus on if you're using the Fuse Fighter leader skill itself. So we've got quite a few units to get through here, because this is a pretty stacked category. There are a lot of really good units on here. You know, we're probably not just not going to be going over many of the int units here, because they will have type disadvantage during the event, so that's definitely not what you want. But all of the other typings have some really solid options. So let's go ahead and dive in. So obviously the first unit that I've got in the list here is the LR Super Saiyan 4s. They're going to be your primary leader that you're going to want to use. Quite a few of the units that we're going to talk about as well will have access to their 200% leader skill. So they are going to be a very powerful option for you. You know, obviously, everybody knows how busted these units are at this point, how much damage they're putting out, how good their defense is, and it's worth noting, especially for a short run like an EZA, that they have guard for the first turn. So that is really a super helpful thing that can help you out if you are using them as your leader and then your friend leader. 2 of your units are going to be guarding on the very first turn. Okay. So then we've got the LR Gods. They are obviously going to be on the 200% leader skill for the Super Saiyan 4s. So if you're using them on the team as well, you're going to have a third unit that is guarding on turn 1. And obviously they are just as insane offensively and defensively. So I'm thinking if you have those 3 units that you're running, it's not going to really matter what the rest of your team is. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to solo this. Especially if you get, you know, the gods linked up with one of the Super Saiyan 4s, because then you'll have the legendary power link active, and they'll be doing insane damage. I imagine you'll be able to one turn probably all the way through stage 10 of the EZA, which is the final stage that you need on an LR EZA. So yeah, that's definitely the way to go, is to try and get them on your team if you have them. And if not, then even running one of them as the friend lead could be a really good idea for you. Okay, so then another good option here is going to be the Tech LR Gogeta. Again, you do want to prioritize using LRs because of that legendary power link. He's going to be really solid because he has this high chance of rainbow key changing, which is going to be super helpful for the LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s, because they feed heavily off of rainbow key spheres, right? Giving them additional crit chance and whatnot. So yeah, they can be a really solid defensive unit as well. They've got this 30% damage reduction here. And then obviously they're getting their raises on super and stuff. So they are going to be very solid. They're also on Kamehameha, so they're going to be under the 200% leader skill if you do run them on that team. So yeah, they are definitely a very good option as well. And then I suppose it's worth noting, for all 3 cards that we've talked about so far, they get 4th turn transformations. That is a little late for an EZA. Usually you don't get to turn 4. Usually the fight is over before then. Or maybe it ends like on turn 4. So you might not get their fusion off. But if you're struggling, you know, if you don't have a lot of LRs on the team and you are taking a long time to get through this, then those turn 4 fusions could be helpful for you. And they could end up, you know, assisting you quite a bit. And their fusion is actually going to recover some HP there, and I believe you get this. You reduce damage received by 30%, and you foresee enemy super attack for 5 turns. So getting that scouter effect in there is going to be super helpful as well. You know, if your 4th turn, if you're making it to the 4th turn, I imagine that your HP is very low. by that point, so having the ability to foresee a super attack could be very, very useful at that point. So yeah, they are a super solid option as well. So the STR Vegito is going to be a really good option here as well. Again, LR, you definitely want to use them. They are going to be putting out some solid damage for you, and they are going to be tanking decently as well. So they are definitely not a bad option. And then same thing, they've got that 4th turn transformation. So all of these units are, you know, pretty solid. They're on Kamehameha as well, so all 4 of these units are going to be on the 200% leader skill. They are definitely the top 4 units that you're going to want to be using in this EZA for sure. So another solid option that you can use here is the STR Gogeta, the anniversary unit here from, what is it, the 4th anniversary, I want to say? 5th anniversary? Yeah, so they are going to be... this guy is going to be pretty strong as well, keeping in mind that he has type advantage. Oh, I guess that's another thing I should have mentioned about them, is that they're STR. So having type advantage in this event is going to be very useful because you're fighting a physical type enemy. So I think that makes this unit one of the prime candidates that you're going to want to be using. And that is definitely going to make this guy pretty effective, because at this point his defense is pretty lackluster. He is not the strongest defensive unit. He does have this high chance of evading in the 3rd slot, which is going to be useful, so I would recommend floating him if you are going to use him. But yeah, being an STR unit, he is going to be able to tank a little bit better. But yeah, he only does have the 70% defense here, and then his kit just raises attack for the rest of it. So yeah, he really doesn't have the most impressive defense, and then again, his transformation is not until the 4th turn, so you're probably not going to see the Gogeta Blue come out during this event. But yeah, so he could be a solid option on there as well. He is also going to be on the 200% leader skill there, because he is on Kamehameha, so he will be a very nice option to include there as well. So moving on, I believe that's all the LRs that we're going to talk about for this event. The rest of the units we're going to go over are TURs. So keep in mind that the rest of these units will not be able to activate the legendary power link skill. So while a lot of these units are going to be very impressive defensively, they may not be putting out the most damage because they're not going to be, you know, you don't have legendary power with them. So we've got the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta here. You know, obviously his Extreme Z Awakening just came out, and if you've got him Extreme Z Awakened, he is going to be really impressive on this team. He is on Kamehameha, so he'll be on the 200% leader skill. He gets a great attack and defense raise for the 1st turn, or after super attacking for 1 turn, which is going to be really helpful for his defense. And let's see, I guess this isn't going to apply because you're facing a super type enemy, but he gets 150% stats at the start of turn. High chance of attacks being effective against all types, which is going to be really useful because you don't have type advantage there. Okay, and then he's getting some additional stats with each super attack perform, which is good. And then the main thing here that I want to highlight on is that he's got this, the great chance of evading and countering, which is going to be really helpful. So I recommend running this guy in like the 3rd slot, so you can have 2 LRs that stay on rotation to keep that legendary power link active, because remember, you do have to have the LRs linked up together. If they're in the 1st and 3rd slot and you're splitting them with a TUR, then the legendary power link won't be active and it won't do anything. So you do need to have them linked together, so I'd recommend running your TURs in the 3rd slot. And that is going to be really good, because you're going to give him the chance to raise his defense on super, get that great raise, and then he'll also add some of these stats because he's getting a super attack, and especially if you get an additional, then he'll stack them up to 50%. And then he has the great chance of countering if he is going to get supered, which is going to save you some HP there. So yeah, another very solid unit. Okay, so this guy is going to be really impressive as well. He's getting these raises of attack and defense on super, and I believe he has this. Yeah, high chance of launching an additional super attack for 5 turns, which obviously the entire event is going to last 5 turns or less. So he will be having this active the entire time, and then if you have any additionals in his hidden potential system, he could get those too. So he could be potentially getting 3 super attacks per turn. And he's also getting some additional stacks here with each super attack he performs. So his attack and defense are going to be very impressive. if he gets off a couple of attacks there. So turn 1, if he gets off a few, he'll be looking good, and then definitely turn 2, he will be looking really, really solid. Or like the second turn that he is on rotation. He could be looking very good for you. So he's another nice unit to be able to run in that third slot. Okay, so this guy's going to be really solid, mainly defensively. I don't think that this guy is going to provide much damage for you at all. He doesn't have type advantage. He isn't going to have the most impressive, like, link set active. He's going to have maybe a few, Fuse Fighter, possibly GT, Fierce Battle, but that's probably about it. He is an extreme class unit. He isn't going to fit the best on the team, but he is on Fused Fighter, so he is usable on the leader skill. He's only going to have 170% stats, because obviously he's not on Kamehameha or anything. But the main thing to highlight on with this guy is this. He's got the 40% damage reduction, and then he gains an additional 6% up to 30% with each attack received. So if you throw him in the way of a bunch of attacks and he gets that built up really quick, he's going to have 70% damage reduction for you. That is going to be very, very useful. 70% damage reduction is very hard for enemies to hit through. I don't imagine that this EZA is going to be hard enough to do any damage to him if he is fully built up. So yeah, he could be a really solid defensive option for you if you are struggling and you keep dying. Even though he's not an LR, he will still be very, very tanky there. Okay, so then we've got Janembu here, another very solid defensive unit because he's getting this permanent defensive stacks. So he's going to be raising his defense quite a bit. He's got, I believe, medium chance to evade, yes, and then he guards all attacks within the same turn after evading an attack. So, if he's able to dodge one attack, then all the rest of the attacks that hit him, he will be guarding against, and he's going to be raising his defense with his super attacks. So that is really, really good. He also is going to be recovering some HP at the end of the turn, which is nice in Easy A's because you can't use items to recover your HP. So that is going to be very, very good. He is another very solid option. Keep in mind that, again, he is only on the 170% leader skill here. He doesn't have Kamehameha, so he'll only be, 170% to stats there. But he can be another strong floater for you. So this guy, I did want to make sure to mention. I think I'm actually going to be using him on my team because, okay, so he is an STR type unit, so he will have type advantage versus this event. And then he is going to do decently for himself. He's got 120% of stats at the beginning of the turn, and then he raises by another 80%. The more HP remaining, the greater the stats boost. So basically, if he comes out turn 1, he's getting 200% stats, and then he's going to be raising his attack and defense on top of that on super. And he's attacks effective against all type, which doesn't make a difference in this case because you're facing a physical enemy, I suppose. But then he's got this. He's a Rainbow Orb Changer, which is going to be helping out the LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s so much because they depend heavily on these Rainbow Key Spheres, right? So he is going to be really, really solid. He is only on the 170% leader skill, so that is the one caveat with him, but he's got some decent links in here as well, a few good ones at least. So yeah, he could be a very solid option for you as well. Weirus is going to be a decent option. He's the double Rainbow Orb Changer to physical type, which is going to be helpful for some passive healing because the LR Super Saiyan 4s can get some decent defense stats. So if you're able to select, like, 16, 18 orbs with them, which is a very real possibility if you pay attention to how you're setting up your orb rotations. Like usually on the off rotation where I know Weirus is coming up next turn, I won't select any tech, int, or physical orbs, and then he's going to change like the whole field, and you're going to have a ton of orbs to be able to select with the LR Super Saiyan 4s, giving them a bunch of passive healing to get you healed back up. He is also going to be really, really solid because he's got some support in his passive here. So not only does he get the 150% stats at the beginning of the turn, and then the raise on super, he's also giving Fusion and Realm of Gods category allies attack and defense 30% with 3 or more key spheres obtained, and then he gets a high chance of evading with 5, and then an additional 70% stats with 7. So if you select a few orbs with him, he is going to be looking pretty impressive as well as buffing the team. So he can be really, really solid. And then the last 2 units I wanted to mention here are some Vegito units. While they are a little more RNG reliant, these guys have definitely aged out here. I've got the AGL Vegito, the Super Vegito, and then the the physical Vegito Blue here. So their defense is definitely going to be really bad. If they like take a super attack or something, then they are going to get hit very hard and probably get you killed. So they are RNG reliant for sure. But if they are just taking normals, then they're going to be reducing their damage by quite a bit. So you are definitely not going to get hit that hard if they are able to, are able to tank those normal attacks. I guess I would say that the Vegito Blue is going to be better than the Super Vegito if you had to choose between the two, just because I don't think the Super Vegito is going to be doing any damage at all for you, and he does get this Scouter ability when your HP is 40% or less, but you have to start the turn with the HP 40% or less for him to then be on rotation and activate the Scouter. I feel like it's just unlikely to see that scenario happen, because you'd have to be quite a few turns into the EZA, in which case you may not even need the Scouter ability because he might just die right away anyway, assuming that the enemy wouldn't have that much HP left after however many turns it takes you to get down to this low amount of HP. So yeah, this guy is probably not going to be the most solid, but just mentioning him here for that damage reduction that he offers could be good. But yeah, this guy with the great attack and defense raises and the great chance of launching up to 2 additionals, plus the hidden potential system additional, if you're getting 3 and 4 super attacks with these great raises, he is definitely still going to be putting out some damage, especially if he's getting some critical hits for you. And he's on Kamehameha, so he is going to be under the 200% leader skill. So he could be a very, very solid option for this EZA as well. So really quick here, that is all the units that I have to go over as far as the ones that are going to be the best for the EZA. I did want to quickly switch back to in-game here and show you guys my team that I've got set up. So all of the LRs that I have, that we talked about, I am going to run all of them on the team. And then I'm going to throw Majub in there at the end, just because all of these guys are going to be... you're going to want to be selecting quite a few orbs with them so that they're all getting their 18 key supers. So I think having Majub around as the additional rainbow orb changer is going to help things flow a lot better. And obviously having 5 out of 6 LRs, I'm going to have the legendary power link active quite a bit. So I do not imagine that I will be struggling in this EZA at all. And if you can build a team even close to this, then I think you are going to be perfectly fine. As a quick note, for anybody that doesn't have the LR Super Saiyan Force, because I imagine most of the team building guides are going to lead with use this guy as your leader, but if you don't have him and you're unable to use him as your leader, you do have a few other options here. So the LR gods here, you probably could build a pretty solid Power Beyond Super Saiyan team based on who's on Fused Fighters here. You've got some Super Saiyan 3 units in here, some Super Saiyan 4 units, some Super Saiyan Blues. So there are some pretty solid options in here that you could use for units that are on Power Beyond Super Saiyan as well as movie heroes. So you definitely could use them as your lead, so look into that. And then you could also run a very solid Potara team. While I don't recommend using this guy as your lead because he has type disadvantage, that's why I didn't go over this unit as a potential possibility. You could always go do his EZA first, because his EZA is going to drop at the same time. And then once he's EZA'd, even with type disadvantage, I think he might be able to still hold his own in this EZA. And then you could run him as a Potara lead of 180%, which would be really, really good. Or even if you don't get him EZA'd yet, you could find a friend leader that's got him EZA'd and then run the, he's got the 170 lead and then run the friend 180% lead. Because all the Vegito units are here on Fused Fighters. So you're going to have a ton of different Vegito options to build this Potara team. You're going to have so many good units to use. And then if you were able to run these two guys, then you'll have a few LRs on the team as well to give you that legendary power link. You do also have Keflas, and there's the STR Kefla who's going to have type advantage in this event. And then this Kefla who is an infinite defense stacker. So, yeah, some very, very solid options there for you. Let me know what you guys think of this one. If you enjoyed what you saw, then come be a part of the Toxic Tribe with a like, comment, and subscribe. We are trying our best here to get to 77 subscribers by the end of the 7-year anniversary. So smack that red subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. That is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!